Rabbit Hole Roundup, episode 22, the Dunk Contest Conspiracy. So, in honor of today's episode, I did decide to wear a hat that represents one of the most famous dunk contests ever, and one of the best ones ever.
Alright, here is Vince Carter with his first stop! Let's go home! Let's go home, ladies and gentlemen!
Vince Carter's famous dunk contest in 2001, I believe. And also to show you guys, as one of the topics I'm going to get into in today's episode, dinosaurs aren't real. Dinosaurs are really dragons and giant fossils. Dinosaurs were designed to make you guys believe in evolution, to get you guys to think that we came from apes and that the Earth is 4.6 billion years old. All nonsense. But anyways, what's happening, guys? Welcome back to the Jared and James channel. I'm Jared Weiss. If you guys didn't know, that must mean you're not subscribed to the channel, so you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment, let me know what you guys think of this video. Follow me on every platform. So for today's video, we're going to be talking about the dunk contest conspiracy and this idea that the dunk contest may have been rigged. Of course, I know that all these events and sports are of course designed to be the bread and circuses, to keep us distracted, to keep us entertained. But being someone who actually is very passionate about basketball as a player, and someone who's also always enjoyed watching it, and someone who's very passionate about dunking, and who's been on my own dunk journey for the past several years trying to get my first dunk, I thought, why not combine the conspiracy avenue of the rabbit holes and put it together with my favorite sport of basketball and dunking? Because there's definitely something going on there. And even though, yes, of course, it's all designed to be this massive distraction, sometimes we do need to take a break from all this truth, from all the heaviness of some of these topics. And there's nothing wrong with a bit of entertainment here and there, as long as we're fully aware of any alternative agendas that may be going on, and nefarious agendas. So, for anyone who watched the dunk contest this past weekend, I think all of us realized that there was definitely this desire from the judges from the NBA to get Jaylen Brown to the finals, because for anyone who knows dunking, like myself, as well as any pro dunkers out there, and truthfully anyone who's a fan of the game of basketball, we all saw Jacob Toppin go between the legs, 360, and finish it with two hands.
That's nice, though. That is nice. But
and then Jaylen Brown jumped over a 4-foot guy sitting in a chair and did a simple dunk, and actually tried to fake as if like he actually made the dunk harder than it was by fake covering his eyes.
he's a shooter.
I think we all know that Jacob Toppin and Mac McClung were by far the two best dunkers in the contest.
That's what I'm saying.
But there was definitely some sort of rigging going on by the judges. I'm not sure whether or not the judges were blind.
Are you deaf?
No, you is blind.
I'm not blind, you blind.
That is what I just said.
Or whether Jaylen Brown paid someone, or whether there was this desire to ruin the dunk contest by the NBA, which is going to lead me into this conspiracy that I'm going to get into. Past few days, we've been hearing all the sports commentators say that like the All-Star game needs to be done away with because that was also horrible display of basketball, and that like the dunk contest is dead. But meanwhile, Mac McClung did some incredible dunks that we've never seen before. Jacob Toppin, I thought his best dunk was actually insanely good, but like the judges' scores obviously didn't reflect this. So if you ask me, I don't think that like there's actually a lack of talent and a lack of hops and a lack of creativity. I think there may be an agenda to ruin the dunk contest and to ruin the All-Star game. With how bad or rigged or horrible the dunk contest was, because the judges obviously ruined it. Even though the dunks themselves, honestly, I actually thought like most of the dunks in the contest were actually really good. But as many of us know, the NBA gets paid by China. It's been infiltrated with all this cultural Marxism, as is our whole society. And there's been this desire to invert everything, to make you think down is up is down, boys are girls, girls are boys, to divide everyone against each other and conquer us ultimately, brainwash us, make us think that our neighbor is the enemy as opposed to the people at the top who are actually pulling the strings and constantly dividing us, so that this way they can ultimately take away our power and take away our creative energy and make us less of who we actually are and who we're designed to be. So now, this brings me to my theory as to why the dunk contest is actually being purposely destructed in this controlled demolition fashion. What did we hear about the past few days as being the best part of All-Star Weekend for anyone who watches the NBA out there? Everyone was saying that the Sabrina Ionescu and Stephen Curry 3-point contest was the best part of All-Star Weekend. And if you ask me, being a basketball player and a basketball fan myself, who has so much love for the game of basketball, was it entertaining? watching a girl have a shootout against a guy, the best shooters in their respective lanes. Yeah, it was entertaining, but like, ever since the dunk contest came around, that was always the most exciting event. Throwing down a dunk is probably the most graceful, athletic feat and one of the coolest feats in entertainment and in our world, which is why I've had this massive goal of trying to dunk one day. And as we know, the people in power, people at ESPN, the people who've been infiltrated by all this cultural Marxism and who have this desire to promote such, they've been trying to convince you that girls could do everything that boys could do and that boys could do everything that girls could do, right? And just to be clear, I have nothing against any girls, I have nothing against the sport of women's basketball, but if we're actually being honest, the WNBA is not, nor will it ever be, as entertaining as the NBA. And what's one of the main reasons for this? The athleticism. Girls just aren't designed to be as strong and as powerful as men.
You play ball like a girl!
This isn't me saying that no girl could be stronger than a guy. As I'm always saying, I'm a huge believer in the idea that anything is possible. And so, if you're a girl who's listening to this is not designed for me to discourage you. This is not me saying you shouldn't go after any of your athletic goals. But the truth of the matter is the WNBA has been unprofitable for years. And no matter how hard the people at ESPN and the people in power try, unless girls start throwing down thunderous dunks and prove to people that their product could be just as good if not better than watching the NBA, it's likely going to stay that way, because when we all have the option to watch certain things on TV, our time is obviously limited. And people just likely aren't going to watch the WNBA as much as they watch the NBA. And once again, when it comes to tennis, obviously the sport of tennis is equally watched on the girl side and the boy side, because there aren't many things that boys can do differently than girls when it comes to that sport. But basketball is just designed that way. And God designs all with our own individual strengths and our own individual weaknesses. And so this isn't me knocking any girls. This isn't me knocking any women. So now, getting to the point of what I'm trying to say here, if you make the dunk contest not as exciting, if you convince people that the dunk contest is dead, men's basketball is dead, the All-Star game sucks, but on the other hand, the 3-point contest between Sabrina Ionescu and Steph Curry is now actually the most exciting event to watch, what do you think is going to happen? You're trying so hard to program more people to tune into the WNBA and to try to convince people that the WNBA is just as exciting, if not more exciting, than the NBA, because you're getting rid of the most exciting part of the NBA, and you're making it worse. And so maybe this is a reach, maybe I'm looking too hard into this, but I think there's definitely a larger agenda at hand here. Also, Caitlin Clark is incredible. Also, to be clear, there are some incredible WNBA players who have tons of skills, and I totally respect that. But once again, the NBA is always going to be more exciting, more action-packed, and better to watch, and chances are you're not going to be able to convince me otherwise, or many other people otherwise, because that's the reason why the WNBA has always been unprofitable, and that's why the arenas themselves are basically always empty. It's not because people are misogynistic or people are racist or whatever any its are out there. It's because the sport itself just isn't as exciting to watch. The performers themselves don't have the same skill set. So don't blame me for pointing that out. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm only calling it like I see it. So anyways, if you guys want to hear my thoughts on how to fix the dunk contest, I would say make sure the judges actually know what they're doing. Either make the judges pro dunkers or have pro dunkers in the dunk contest itself, or every dunker should have a coach. And also stop with all the agendas. Or at least I see what you guys are trying to do, and it's not going to work. If the sport of women's basketball is to become more popular, it should be done the right way. It should be done authentically. It shouldn't be this way of forcing it in and forcing it on to people. As with any of these cultural Marxist ideas are, stop with the brainwashing, let things happen authentically and genuinely. I see what you're trying to do. The next topic I want to bring up is an article that I saw the other day that said this one famous fossil is really just paint, rocks, and a couple bones, researchers say. It says that a 280 million year old fossil that was thought to be a well-preserved specimen of an ancient reptile is largely a forgery. Shocker. For any of my fellow truth seekers who realize that dinosaurs aren't real, dinosaurs are really based on dragons, and any of the fossils that they actually found or continue to find are either giant bones, dragon bones, nonsensical paintings designed to convince you that dinosaurs were here 4.6 billion years ago, and that the Earth is that old, and that this big asteroid came in and hit us, and then the planets formed, and you have the whole Big Bang Theory nonsense, and then evolution, and we came from apes. All nonsense. No proof of any of that. And this is just the latest example to confirm the dinosaur lie. But what's the actual purpose of the mainstream media coming out and actually admitting this? I think it's because they want you to think, oh, well, these fossils may be frauds, and we're telling you that they're frauds, but the rest are all real. You guys could trust us. Trust the experts. We know what we're talking about. We actually analyze this. Unlike any of the others, guys, look up the Smithsonian giants, like they're actually hiding in the Smithsonian Museum to hide our history, to hide our true history of giants coming before us and building all these massive structures, as Sean Hibbler spoke about. And going along this topic further of dragons actually being real and dinosaurs being fake, Cultivate Elevate once again put out an incredible video recently where he spoke about how if you go to a bunch of different places in Europe, many of the street signs actually have the word dragon in it. And same thing goes for the zodiac clock. Every other animal that's on the zodiac clock is real, but then they want you to believe that the dragon is fake. Could they have been saying these names because there were actually dragons roaming around the earth during this time? Possibly during the whole Tartarian Empire time? Is it possible that maybe some of these dragons actually went beyond the ice wall? And what's the whole purpose of this once again? To convince us that evolution is real, and also to convince us of this idea of fossil fuels and that we're running out of oil. Even though if you actually look into this, oil is actually a natural resource which is always going to be regenerating in the earth, and that's the reason why it hasn't run out yet. And that's the reason why fossil fuels haven't run out yet, is because they don't come from fossils. Fossil fuels aren't a real thing. Bones don't turn to oil. Why is it in Asia so many things are based around the dragon? You even have these dragon festivals to celebrate the new year. Anyways, guys, look into some of these things. Think for yourself. Don't just believe the experts, as I can't say enough. Next up, we have this idea that a new part was added to the next moon mission. They're now collecting asteroid rubble. Why is NASA always talking about these asteroids that are gonna hit the Earth? Why is there all this talk about moon rocks, even though any quote-unquote moon rocks like they've ever shown us have just been normal rocks? And speaking of which, I actually saw this idea mocked in one of the iCarly episodes, now that I think about it. Gibby was actually sold this moon rock.
You want to buy a moon rock? You mean from the actual moon? Where else you gonna find a moon rock? I'll get the moon rock out of my car. Huh? Whoa, nice piece, huh? Super nice piece.
And it was just some guy in the street who picked up a rock from the parking lot and gave it to Gibby and sold it to him for like thousands of dollars. So could it have been this way of the entertainment industry just mocking us once again? But they want us to believe that without NASA, asteroids would be hitting our Earth and that we'd all be dead, and that's why we're paying $25 billion a year for their CGI, and for them to always convince us that a new planet was found 13 trillion miles away or 500 light years away. Want to know how we know? Because we saw this through the magical telescope. And I'm not sure whether or not this article was real or whether it was a joke. I'm actually kind of hoping it was a joke, but it said that there was an asteroid the size of 8 Taylor Swifts that was gonna hit us if they didn't do anything about it. Guys, they're mocking us. Don't fall for it. And one more story and one more clip I want to share for this week's episode of the Rabbit Hole Roundup is from one of my favorite content creators, JT Follows JC. He spoke about how this past week we celebrated President's Day, which is based around this idea of George Washington being our first president. But according to him, he was actually our 15th president. How many of us actually realize this? America declared independence from Great Britain in 1781. The Articles of Confederation were written in 1783. And George Washington didn't actually become our president, according to history books, until 1789. There were actually 14 presidents prior to George Washington. So why do we all idolize this one guy? And why do we all learn about his wooden teeth? In 1781, Samuel Huntington became the first president of the United States, and John Hanson was the first president to serve a full term. So why is it once again that we only learn about George Washington, that we venerate him, even though, keep in mind, he was actually said to have been more proud of being a Freemason, part of that secret society, than he was of actually being the president of the United States? Or, as JT Follows JC says at the end of this, could it just be that history, as we know, is a set of lies that have been agreed upon? Could it just be this way of confusing us? Because the whole thing is, as I often say, when we don't know our real history, when we don't understand how powerful we truly are, we can't share information amongst each other, and we don't know or understand our true power and our true purpose for being here. Anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know if you found any of these topics interesting. I will catch you guys in the next video. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace! Also, as has been my classic sign-off for the past few episodes, we are on a flat, non-rotating plane. Prove me wrong otherwise, you're not going to. Peace.